Hi, everybody. It's Mr. Gray here. Thank you again for another great week. This was a short week. We're back to a normal week next week. Looks like it's going to be pretty cold after some strange hot weather here at the beginning of winter. I have some announcements first. We have kind of like I think about a 10-week stretch now between now and spring break, and we have a lot to do during that time as always, but I want to just let you know of a few things that are going on. We're having Fancy Friday next Friday, the 31st. It's been really fun. The kids dress up in just like some kind of fanciness. It's not specific. Some kids get very fancy, some kids get a little fancy, but it's been really fun this year. Other teachers notice and they have a good time with that, and they really love it too. So come dressed fancy next Friday the 31st. In a couple of weeks, we have Global School Play Day, which is Wednesday, February 5th. It's a day started by a teacher in Irvine, which has really grown and grown and grown. It's a really fun day. The kids literally play all day long. We have science lab that day, but other than that, they will just play all day. And it's unstructured, no electronics. We'll go outside and play. We'll stay inside and play games. It's a really fun day. And so I'll talk a little bit more about that probably next week. But the kids can bring their own games, as long as it's okay with you, because things get lost and broken when they're at school. But as long as it's okay with you, they can bring their own games as long as they're school appropriate, and it'll be a really fun day. So that's Wednesday, February 5th. There's the next time we have no school is a Monday, February 17th. We're going to have Read Across America Day, which is Wednesday, March 5th, which is a all-day reading day, which is really fun. The Jogathon is Friday, March 7th. You'll hear about that from PTA. And then that's a day where they'll obviously run. And then we have spring conferences coming up in March, the 17th through the 21st. That's kind of ahead now, but that will be either like I will request a conference or you will request a conference. It's not necessarily that everyone just has a conference. And then the other thing that's going on is we'll do physical fitness testing in March. And so we'll kind of get ready for that. There's different things they do, flexibility and push-ups and sit-ups and chin raise and a mile run. So we'll get ready for those. We'll just keep practicing those a little bit as we've done this year. And so you might hear about that as well coming up. Hey, to reading next week, the kids, we're working on historical fiction. We're getting ready. I'm reading a book out loud, Heroes by Alan Gratz, which is all about the attack on Pearl Harbor. And the kids are reading Esperanza Rising, which is about a girl from a wealthy family whose life kind of falls apart. And she moves from Mexico to the United States and has to kind of start over. But it's a really great book. And so the kids will finish that next week. And they're going to make a reader's notebook, kind of final project page that incorporates what they've learned with character relationships, themes, symbols, and conflict. And then the big idea of resilience throughout the story. And so they'll be working on that next week. In writing, we're going to start a next kind of a little mini unit. We just had a little mini unit where the kids made little tiny ABC books. If you haven't seen that, ask your kid about that. The next thing we're doing as we're getting into the American Revolution and the way that the government is set up is we're going to actually write our congressional representative. So this is someone who's in the House of Representatives. He represents our district where we all live here in Irvine. His name is Dave Min. But the kids are going to kind of look him up a little bit and see what he is all about, because you might not know that they have a representative in Congress. And then we're going to end up writing a letter to Dave Min about things that they care about in the world. And it's really just a writing unit to practice how to organize a letter, but also how to communicate your voice in a kind of respectful and helpful way. So that's going to take us a couple weeks to do, but that'll be a really fun thing, and that kind of ties in with our social studies a little bit. In math, the kids have our next Continental Mathematics League test number 3 of 5, and so we'll do a little bit of practice and review on Monday and Tuesday, and then we'll take the test on Wednesday next week. In social studies, for the next few weeks, we're working on the road to the revolution, all of the important events leading up to the actual Declaration of Independence and the Revolutionary War. And so we started in 1763 and 1764. And so we have lots of things that happen all the way leading up until the Declaration of Independence in 1776. The kids are making a digital timeline. So there's a front it's on Google Slides. There's a front slide. The first slide in the slide deck is this big timeline with all these events. And if you click on an event, it takes you to another slide, which tells you all about the event in the students' own words. So we're kind of learning about all the events. The kids are reading a little bit. They're listening to me, and they're also listening to a podcast about the event. And so they're kind of getting all that information and putting it in their own words about what's really important about that event. So by the end, in a few weeks, they'll have this huge, portfolio of events that's digital that they can kind of look back on and present as well. Next week, we're going to talk about the Townsend Act, the Rebellion in New York, the Boston Massacre, the Tea Act, the Boston Tea Party, and the Intolerable Acts. They're also going to keep working on their Great State Project. The Great State Project is due Friday the 7th. So they'll be working in class on Friday the 24th, on Friday the 31st, and then it'll be due on Friday the 7th. As a reminder, they have to make a call to the state. There's a state hotline number for them to call, and they have to kind of schedule that with you because there has to be a parent present during the call. And there's questions for them. But they're kind of working on all those things. The kids will have science lab on Mr. Marco. We will have a science lesson next week. I just don't know exactly what it is yet. The kids are working on Greek and Latin roots. We kind of moved on from Worldly Wise, and for the next several weeks, we'll work on Greek and Latin roots. We'll meet with our buddies. And other than that, we'll just have a busy, great week. So it should be really fun. As always, let me know about questions. We're getting close to the end of trimester 2. Some grades will kind of be added or adjusted, but we're getting kind of close to the end of that one. Believe it or not, we're in the second half of the year. And so trimester 2 goes for about like 3.5 more weeks, but we kind of wrap it up in the next like 2 to 3 weeks. And then we kind of get ready for trimester 3. So as always, very busy. We got a lot going on. And let me know if you have any questions about anything. As always, have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.